Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you tops with very exaggerated puffy sleeves from two patterns. The first pattern that I will talk to you about today is the Sinclair dress by the pattern company General Couture, which I believe is affiliated with the French fabric and sewing supply store called Ma Petite Mercerie. And I found out about this dress pattern from several of the French Instagrammers that I follow. And so when I saw this dress, I just immediately fell in love with it. And I was debating whether I wanted to buy the pattern or not because it seems a bit exaggerated, and so it's definitely not something for work. But you know what? It's under $10, so I decided to buy it after all. The dress itself is a wrap dress, a real wrap dress with a wrap bodice paired with a circle skirt. And you could either have a sleeveless version or the version paired with this very exaggerated puffy sleeves. When you make the version with the sleeves, the Sinclair dress pattern have you cut out the bodice with the shoulder seam brought in by about 2 centimeters. And all of a sudden that dawned on me that was the correct way to pair a puffy sleeve with the bodice. The reason is because the highest point of the puffy sleeves should be exactly at your shoulder. So if you don't bring in the shoulder seams, the puff would extend past your shoulders, and so that would look weird. And that explained why before when I made something similar, it did not work out so great. So for example, previously in my video 37, I made a fake wrap dress using a buttered pattern, but paired the bodice with a McCall's puffy sleeve pattern, McCall's M8036. And I did not know at that time that I was supposed to bring in the bodice. So at the time, the puffs really extend out too much. So I look like a football player with giant shoulders. So, so that dress was not 100% success. And so by looking at the pattern of the Sinclair dress, I realized that was what was supposed to happen. And so I'm really happy about learning about the subtlety of pairing the bodice with a puff sleeve. And also incidentally, since I have both the Sinclair dress pattern and also this McCall's M8036 pattern, I can say both of the puffy sleeves are basically identical. So if you're not a fan of purchasing a PDF pattern, the McCall's pattern sleeves, I think are 100% interchangeable with that Sinclair dress. To test out this dress, I needed to test out the sleeves first. And so that was this version here, the top. And the fabric I'm using here is a cotton poplin that I purchased from movefabrics.com a while back. And so here is a close-up look of this print itself. So as you can see, sort of grayish kind of background, and the people's face outline is in sort of off-white. And when I got this fabric at home, I just did not care for it at all. And because the outline is in off-white, and it just didn't appeal to me at all. So this fabric was sitting in my stash for the longest time. And so when I needed to test out the Sinclair dress sleeves, I decided to use this fabric as my muslin, because if the whole thing is a failure, I would not feel bad at all. But I'm very happy to report that it did work out beautifully. So I'm very happy about this top. So I just paired the sleeves from the Sinclair dress with a generic top. And however, this generic top originally was just too wide. And so the shoulder seam, the shoulder, also the puffs really just extend out too much. So to bring it in, I needed to shrink the bodice portion. And so what I did was I just kind of pinched in and sew a line and to reduce the volume for the bodice here. So that's why now you see there is a center seam here. And also the same thing with the back as well. So there is also a center seam in the back. But to sort of help me differentiate, which one is the front, which one is the back, I added a few buttons in the back purely for a decorative function and just to help me differentiate what side is what side. And so there was the construction. So that's why there is a seam down both in the center front and the center back. And because this top is not lined, I finished the neckline with bias binding that I made using the same fabric. However, instead of the traditional finish where you fold it in, the bias binding actually sits on top of the neckline. So in a way, this is bias binding and this is a neckline, and then it just sort of like encased, sandwiched it this way instead of traditional method of sandwiching and kind of fold it back in. Because I found the traditional method, the neckline never sits flat, and it's because normally when you finish the neckline either with a facing or a lining, you will clip the curve. But when you finish the neckline using a bias binding the traditional way, you don't clip the curve, and as a result, it just does not sit flat. That is just simple physics. That's why this method is my preferred method of finishing the neckline using the bias binding. And so this is what the top looks like, paired with a pair of jeans. So as you can see, this way, and then the back looks like this. After the success of the top, I immediately set out to make another one. And so this is my version 2 of this top, paired with the Sinclair dress sleeves. And the fabric that I use for this top is the leftover fabric after making the sleeveless dress with a tiered skirt that I talked about in my video 85. And after that one, I had about 1.5 yards left, and which was enough to make this top. And so that was what I did. And I'm really happy also about the pairing of this fabric with this top. And so here's a close-up again of the fabric and the print itself. And as you can see, it's a fairly cropped top because I decided maybe I like the cropped top better for now anyway. And so that was what I did. And for this version, obviously I brought in the bodice a bit, so it now fits me better. It was not too large as before. And also I brought in the shoulder a little bit, I think by about a centimeter maybe. And so now the puff, I think, sits at a better place, in relation to my upper body proportion. So I am really happy about it. And as you can see, the sleeves are really, in a way, a statement sleeve because, just the amount of puff it has. But I really love it. So here is a quick video of this gingham top. And I paired the top with a pair of blue jeans and a pair of ballet flats in black. And I'm really happy about it. So it's a great way to use up the leftover project and just really to test out the pattern. So I am really happy about the outcome. After the gingham top, was thinking to myself that there was no reason why I could not use the Sinclair dresses sleeves on a t-shirt. And so that was what I did. So I paired the Sinclair dresses sleeves uh, on the bodice of a most beloved new look t-shirt pattern. And so I made that t-shirt, but I actually do not have that t-shirt with me anymore. So what happened was I made it up, and then it looks okay. I like it, enough. But I felt like the sleeves were just too puffy or just too much volume, even though it's a drapier fabric, because obviously I use a t-shirt type of jersey fabric, but it was just too much. Then I remember that I previously had downloaded a free t-shirt pattern, and somehow I just never got around to making it up, trying it out. And so that leads us to the second pattern that I will talk to you about today, which is the Galaxy t-shirt pattern. That's a free t-shirt pattern if you signed up for the newsletters by the pattern company of Pattern, Scissors, Cloths. And so then I just went ahead and made the t-shirt out of that. When I try a new pattern, I normally would compare that pattern with an existing pattern that I had. So in this case, I superimposed the new look t-shirt pattern that I have modified to for a more fitted look directly on top of this Galaxy t-shirt pattern. And to my surprise, it was a perfect fit, in terms of the shoulder seam, the width, the slant, the shoulder, so the slant, and also just the bodice generally, everything was almost an exact match against that modified new look pattern. And so I knew this Galaxy t-shirt pattern would work very well for me. And indeed, it has worked out beautifully. So this is what I'm wearing here. So this one is the Galaxy t-shirt as is. I only made two very minor changes because I couldn't not make any changes to a new pattern. So number one was I shortened the bodice quite a bit by about 3 inches because I feel like in the summer I kind of feel like more of a cropped t-shirt versus full length, even though full length is only 3 inches longer, so it really would not be too long anyway. So that is number one. And number two, for the cuffs here, I narrow it down a bit by about 3/4 of an inch, just for a more cinched look, so the puff will look more defined. So those are the only two changes I made. And as you can see, this Galaxy t-shirt has a fairly high neckline. And traditionally, I am not a big fan of high neckline. But for this one, I decided I would just try it out as is. And if I don't like it, it's a simple enough modification anyway. I could just unpick the whole thing and recut the neckband to fit a larger opening. But I actually really like it just the way it is. Even though it's a fairly high neckline, it's perfectly comfortable. I did not feel sort of claustrophobic in this t-shirt at all. So I am really happy about how this works out and can highly recommend it. So after I made up this one, and when compared with the t-shirt that I made using the Sinclair dresses sleeves, I like this one so much better. And so originally I had planned to just unpick that other t-shirt and then cut it into this one, the Galaxy t-shirt, because obviously the Sinclair dresses sleeves are much bigger, so it's easy to go from a larger size to a smaller size this way. However, However, actually, it was so funny. It's this funny story. So what happened was I was taking the trash out, and then ran into my neighbor, who is from Japan, and in Japan, one does not go out of one's home wearing pajamas because that's considered bad manners. So what I did was, yes, I was just only leaving my apartment to take out the trash, and so I was wearing the pajama set that I talked about in an earlier video. And so when I saw her, run into her, I intuitively just apologized for still wearing my pajamas, even though obviously we are in the U.S. And she said that, oh, she couldn't tell they were pajamas at all because they were so cute. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then she really loved my pajama set, and so she asked me where I got them from. And so I mentioned that I actually made them myself. And so she was so impressed with it, because they really are simple projects. Nothing's, but anyway, so she just loved them so much at all. She said, oh, too bad, she would have loved to get something similar for herself. And it so happened that we're about the same size. And so then I was thinking that, instead of unpicking the other t-shirt, using the Sinclair dress sleeves, maybe I would just, offer that t-shirt to her, and if she likes it, she was welcome to keep it. So then it so happened that I ran into her again that afternoon, and so I mentioned it to her, and so I gave it to her, and then she absolutely loved it. And later on, she told me that it fits her perfectly. She loved it, and so that was a very happy outcome for that t-shirt, and that was a very long story why I don't have that t-shirt anymore. So after the success of the first Galaxy t-shirt, I just loved everything about this t-shirt. I just think it's not like a generic boring t-shirt. It has a little, puff, which is what I like, but not too much. I think the Sinclair sleeves on a t-shirt is a bit much. And so I just think this Galaxy t-shirt is just perfect. So in true Billy fashion, I immediately made a gazillion of these. So as you can see from the pictures here. And they just, being t-shirt, they are quick projects really. And so I'm really happy about all of these. And they all work great as a summer staple when paired with jeans. One interesting thing about the choice of fabric for t-shirts is that the fit does change depending on the type of fabric used. So for example, the one I'm wearing here is from Joann's 100% cotton line. And so this cotton line is not particularly stretchy because it's 100% cotton, but it's still stretchy enough, and it does hold the shape very well. So I think it's a perfect choice for this more structured Galaxy t-shirt. However, I also made one using the interlock cotton jersey, also from Joann. And however, that one just, for whatever reason, that fabric is drapier, and so the fit is different, as you can see here. And also, it just fits more loosely. And so in a way, that t-shirt made using this interlock jersey almost feels a little too big for me. For my liking, but I still would like it. I still like it very much, and I would not bother changing it. I would just wear it as is. But it's just interesting how the same pattern would feel so differently depending on the type of fabrics used. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's video featuring puffy sleeves from two patterns, and I have become a big fan of the Galaxy t-shirt, as you can tell from the number of t-shirts I have made in such a short amount of time. And so I hope you will give it a try. And the link to the t-shirt is in the description box below. So on that note, I hope you will stay safe, be well, and I hope I will see you soon. Bye-bye.